Houston, Texas. First GPSL?
Yeah, first GPSL.
All right. Not the last. And I thought it was very fitting that one of the units is pecans.
Pecans, yeah. I thought that's why you asked me to talk about pecans. Was pecans. Hi there. It's been a great day. It's been a long day. Really good presentations. And first, I want to thank Michael for hosting this. This has been a great first GPSL for me. So a little bit about me. I work for NASA in the ISS International Space Station program, and I'm not working for NASA. My other hobbies are brewing beer and playing golf and designing stuff for high altitude balloon launches. Member of the South Texas Balloon Launch Team. We're in our 26th year of launching balloons. If you're curious, the golf shot was at White Sands, New Mexico, out in the White Sands Park. First talk, so I'm going to talk about boards that I've built and boards that other people have built that we've flown up. The first thing we're going to talk about is fireballs. So this all goes back to Bill Brown. Back in 1990, he wrote an article about a fireball QRP transmitter. And that sparked an idea that, hey, we can launch a real simple beacon that sends Chipter down using this design that he came up with.
Actually, that's Bob Moody, K7IRK from Palisade, Texas, came up with the design. I was writing about his design.
You're right.
Well, actually, that is a lot of his design, because I AM modulated that.
You're right, Bill. Good, thanks for the correction. Bob Moody, K7IRK.
K7IRK.
K7IRK, that's right. So, Bob designed this fireball transmitter, and it's a pretty simple design. It uses clock oscillators, and basically also uses a thermistor. So the thermistor drives a 555, and basically you get inverse beeps depending on how temperature, the outside temperature. So the higher you go, the slower the beeps. And uses real cheap clock oscillator chips. And the South Texas team launched the first one, well, the first time they launched one was on BLT2, and which immediately hit a barn. And they recovered that and relaunched it as BLT3. Andy McAllister documented this. This is basically the design of the previous board. But he challenged me to come up with an improved design. Plus, he wanted a surface mount. He said, I'm tired of doing these custom PCBs. I want to do a surface mount. So I came up with a surface mount. I couldn't leave well enough alone, so I had to improve it and use an extra timer to, because, you know, the 50% duty cycle of a single 555 is kind of efficient, so I made it send constant length beeps. But then again, we couldn't leave well enough alone. Oh, this is the design. So this is the design for that one, BLT, or the firewall pole. Couldn't leave well enough alone, so we redesigned it, and it's an all-digital firewall now. So we use basically it's an LM75 equivalent digital temp sensor, Atmel AT85 processor, and changed over the power supply, so it's a switching power supply. Give it anything under 5 volts, and it'll go till it drains the battery. This is the board. So I really hated being constrained by clock oscillator chips that you have to buy. You can only get certain frequency values. So after seeing what a lot of people are doing with the SI5351, I thought, well, let's just make one with a 5351, and we can just pick whatever frequency we want. So this is the next version I'm designing right now. So Bill, one thing, I'll put this in there just real quick. Dirty cheap PCBs. For $14, you can get 10 boards that are 5x5, or $25 you can get a 10x10 board. Really dirt cheap.
What's the website?
DirtyPCBs.com.
DirtyPCBs.com.
And like I said, the reflow oven is critical. You have a lot of the things we're doing. So the previous stuff, all the firewall stuff, we can hand solder, but the things I'm about to get into, we have to use a reflow oven or other creative ways to do it. Okay, let's talk about pecans. We're talking about pecans, not the kind out here at the plantation. Go ahead. I wanted to give a kind of an evolution, a history of the pecan. The first one was the Pecan Pico, and first off, I want to give credit to Thomas Cron and Sven. Thomas designed these, starting with Pecan 1, and he's been collaborating with Ben Stu on the last ones, and they've done some really good work. The first Pecan 1 was back in about July 2012. It was pretty big. It was actually a really big board. You can still solder that by hand, mostly. Pecan 3 got smaller, and they changed over from ADF 7012 transmitter to the SI 4063, 4463, or 4464s. Got a little bit smaller, went to the Pecan Pico 4, and I'm going to talk more about that in a second. Then Thomas wanted to go for lightweight. We want to go for the Pico balloons. So that's where the Pecan Pico 5 came from. It's this big. It weighs less than 3 grams, and it passes through. Start this way. And that's what I'm flying tomorrow. This is going to be my payload for tomorrow. I think it's weighing out at 18 grams.
And which one is that?
This is the Pecan 5.
That's 5?
Yeah, it's a 5.
What kind of, is it, what kind of battery you have on?
300 milliamp battery. I don't have the solar cells on it yet. I didn't, like you said, those solar cells, I'm flying them monocrystalline. They break if you breathe on them. So I'll solder those on tonight and get it ready to go. I forgot. Let me go back to the firewalls real quick. This is my all digital firewall. I'm going to pass this around too. It's live. It's transmitting temperature and Morse code, so you can see what temperature it's transmitting. Okay, the femto. So the Pecan 5 wasn't good enough. He had to go smaller. The Pecan femto is literally smaller than a penny wide and maybe 2 or 3 pennies long, and it weighs 0.91 grams. It's switched to an NXP ARM Cortex processor, and it's using the EVA surface mount U-Blocks chip. It's tiny. I've seen one that's really tiny. So they had a change in heart. They decided, okay, I'm going to go to a different direction. They wanted to start flying. So the Pecan 7, they wanted to start getting video or taking pictures and send them to the ground. So that's where the Pecan 7 was born from. And straight from Germany, I have the latest Pecan 7. Come see me later if you want to see any of these boards. But the Pecan 7, of course, it transmits APRS, but embedded at the end of the APRS strings is video, or not video, sorry, picture data.
Is it JPEG? Still images?
It's still images, and I don't know what he's doing, but he's taken. I don't have it up here. He's got a little camera. I think it's the same camera that you fly on the Raspberry Pi, if you have a Raspberry Pi. He's taking that camera, taking the picture, and taking all the bits and sending it to the room.
There's a format that they've been using in Europe, SSDB.
That's what it is.
Can you jump ahead? Yeah, jump ahead a few. I'm going to have it, but go ahead. There. So these are some of the pictures that have come back from the Pecan 7.
It is SSDB.
Yeah, it's SSDB. And there's a lot more of these pictures at ssdb.havhub.org. Let me talk about what's on the Pecan real quick. Initially, you started doing the onboard antennas. Those are great. They work great. He went to a meandering antenna, which is a little squiggly line on the PCB board. That didn't work so well. So I think we've gone back to the onboard antenna. GPS is U-Blocks, various varieties. a Texas Instrument regulator, Atmel 328 controller, pressure temperature sensor, and 4464 transceiver. Pecan 5 is very similar. Same U blocks, same pressure temp sensor, but this added a SPV, should be 1040.
1040.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway, it's SPV 1040 solar controller, and it basically takes the solar cells or the solar cell power and charges the batteries. I want to throw in a quick launch. So we launched from up in Oklahoma, one of the Pecans, and it made it all the way across, almost to Spain, or literally 100 miles off the coast before a storm got it. Bill's right, it doesn't take much. Just the moisture on the balloon brought it down. So the Pecan 7, Pico 7, a lot of the same design as the Pecan 5, but we added a RF amplifier. And what else? Up here, I guess you wanted to get the stronger GPS signal, so he has a GPS preamplifier filter between the antenna and the U-blocks. Again, ARM processor, and this is the interface down to the camera. There's the built-up Pico 7B, and there's, you can see the camera at the end here. It's weighing in at 29.73 grams. And there's Thomas launching it. Thomas is going to, I think, do kind of the same thing Michael's planning on doing, which is, I think you're planning on putting 2? Yeah. Thomas did 3 balloons last time. So Thomas is going to a transmitter that sends pictures down. I'm kind of going to go the opposite direction. I'm kind of tired of seeing my balloons go off the coast and disappearing, so I want to redesign the Pecan to add the 5351 HF capability on it. I put this up here for fun. I just want, since y'all were talking about the Dorji chips, I built this, and I call it the coconut because it's the exact opposite of a pecan. It's a much bigger. It was intended to put in cars or bigger balloons. Everything worked great except the Dorji chip. I really never could get that chip or the module to work properly. The turn-on times were unpredictable. Of course, they're Chinese watts, 1 watt Chinese watts, never go off. If you run it at a watt, it gets really hot. Anyway, so I'm abandoning that. I'm going to go back to the 4464. I want to talk about some other efforts. Bill mentioned Alan Anderson. He built the Peach Tiny. It's a lot of the same technology and the same form factor. I saw Peter's also building one. The interesting thing about this is he's trying to make this thing the size of a quarter. So he's even going smaller than the Pinto, as far as I can tell.
I'll make note that the Pecans will make a board in any form factor that you want, not just a rectangular board for no extra charge. Most PC board companies charge you a lot of money to do a board like that.
They will.
But Pecans does it for no extra. He just sends a board out on that.
Yeah. The Pecans I had made also, they'll do whatever you want for the dirty PCBs. They'll do whatever you want to. I decided to do a little technology comparison, kind of the evolution of the Pecans and other trackers and see where we're going. And what you can, I know this is an eye chart, I'm not meant to read, but some of the trends are moving away from the Atmel processor to the ARM Cortex processor. More and more designs are adding the SI 5351 clock oscillator for Whisper and JT9. And most of the boards are now also including the solar power, the solar charging chip. And I've seen more and more boards not including the pressure temp sensor. Maybe temp sensor is not all they're doing. I included some references if anyone wants to dig deeper. all those designs are open source. You can go to their GitHub sites and download the source code and the Eagle files and build your own. Except for, of course, the Peach Tiny and Peters. But Thomas's stuff and my stuff is open source. You can go get it. That's it. Any questions? Yeah, Bill.
What's the call sign tomorrow on your flight?
AB5SS-11.
Dash 11. And you're flying on a...
The Mylar balloon, the 36-inch Mylar balloon.
You're going to be flying what?
The 36-inch Mylar. Helium, not hydrogen.